Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Juan Londoño and today's topic, we're going to discuss that one very important lesson that most photography schools leave out. During the middle of this video, we're going to take a ride and you're coming with me and we're going to go explore Gibbs Gardens in North Georgia. Beautiful place, and I'll leave the link down below for anybody that lives in Georgia and is interested, or any surrounding state, or wherever the heck you live. And if you feel like traveling to Georgia, you are certainly welcome. If you let me know, I can even meet you there, because it's only like 40 minutes from my place. So we're going to take a trip, we're going to shoot, and we're going to see if we can apply some of the concepts in this video. So stick around, and we'll go together. So if you go to a photography school or if you take photography lessons, you're going to find that most places will teach you about aperture and shutter speed and ISO and composition, which is very important, by the way, and color and texture. All these things are very, very important, right, for us to get good pictures. But they always seem to leave out an incredibly important topic. You see, if you just look at these things we discussed, like aperture and ISO and shutter speed and composition, blah, 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 and all these other things that they teach, which are all very important, by the way, all schools teach these things, right? Even when I teach my photography class, I cover these topics. So really, what you have to ask yourself, what sets me apart from everybody else studying photography when we're all studying the same technical topics? And that's the whole purpose of this video. What is going to help you elevate yourselves above every other photographer out there by just incorporating this one concept? One of the best ways to do this is storytelling. I love storytelling. I hope you like stories. So I'm going to talk about when I lived in New York City, which was a while back, and I used to do a lot of photography there, right? So one of the first things that I did often, I'm going to sit comfortably here, I hope you don't mind. One of the things that I did very often is I would plan either a week before or even the morning of. I would say, oh my gosh, I want to go take a picture of a certain thing in New York City, right? Whether it was a bridge or a building or, you know, the skyline during sunrise or sunset, whatever, right? And I had that in my mind. And then I would pack my gear and I would get on the subway and I would go, right? Or maybe even at one point my car. If it was a weekend, I didn't want to deal with traffic. So I would go and I would unpack my gear and set everything up and take my pictures and head home, right? And never along the way did it occur to me to take any pictures. If I was riding the subway, I had to walk to the subway. I had to walk from the subway to my location. Then I had to walk back to the subway and then back from the subway to my home. And my camera never came out, right? It just never occurred to me because my mind was so fixated on taking this picture that I had imagined, right? So that was the first big mistake I made all the time. And I'm putting these out there, these little stories, so you can ask yourselves, are you doing the same thing? Number two that I did all the time, that was kind of a bad habit, was that I became very fond of a few locations in New York City, right? And they didn't have to be the same block necessarily, just the same area, like, you know, southern Manhattan, for example, right? Or northern Manhattan, or the east or the west. And that should have come differently from my end. It should have been west and east, or from your end it worked out. So, you know, I ended up going there all the time. It seems like every weekend, that's what I did. There was one time where probably for like 2 years, I was getting off on the train up by Rockefeller Center and then I would walk Fifth Avenue, zigzagging, you know, to 6th Avenue and 3rd Avenue, whatever, and just zigzagging the streets. And it would take me all day long from going from, you know, like 59th Street all the way down to West 4, the Village, if you're familiar with New York. But I did that every time, thinking that, you know, I mean, I wasn't wrong in doing that, right? Because the light was going to be different, the weather was different, different things were happening on the streets. But it was the same, you know, I understand doing that 2 or 3 times so you can get different light. Maybe do that in the morning, do that in midday and then do it in the afternoon, right? And then that's it, you know, move on to another location. But I was so comfortable with that route that's what I did for over a year. And yeah, I took some cool pictures, but back then I was burning film, you know, so it's expensive. So my pictures all looked very similar, of similar buildings, of similar concepts. So that was number 2 mistake that I made just by doing it so often. And number 3, you might be familiar with this one. We grow attached to certain gear, right? We become fond of certain gear. There are lenses that I absolutely love. I love to shoot them. And then there are some lenses I feel like, maybe I made a mistake in buying this thing. But you know what? I do use it every once in a while, so I'm not going to get rid of it. I don't know. I don't know what your reasons are, right? Some people just don't like to sell stuff. Like I collect camera gear. So some of the stuff I hold just because it's going to end up as on one of my shelves, right? And I don't know what's going to happen to that stuff, 50 years from now, if it even is going to matter or not. But that's the whole point, right? We go on different shoots, but we like certain gear more than others, and then we just continuously take that gear. Sometimes we even justify it by saying, I just want to take one camera and one lens, and that's all I want to think about, that's all I want to carry. That's okay on a particular shoot. But if you're doing that shoot after shoot after shoot after shoot after shoot, then you're going to end up with the same pictures all the time. It's nice to introduce a little variety. Maybe leave that lens at home one day and do something completely weird. Like maybe if that's a zoom lens, like a really practical zoom lens, like a 24-70 or 24-105, maybe you take a prime, like a 50 millimeter, and you say, that's it. That's what I'm going to use, whatever I can get this time. Or maybe a 35 millimeter, a little more friendly for street photography. Some people will say a 24 is their favorite. Whatever it is, maybe an 85 millimeter, right? Some closer up street photography. Something different. You're going up into the mountains again, right? Instead of taking that, that landscape perfect lens, maybe like a 15-35, maybe this time you take, again, a fixed 35 or a fixed 50. Change it up a little bit, right? Or take a telephoto lens and see what you can pull off that time, right? So that's number 3. I don't want to dwell on these too long. I already have, but those are the stories. I did a lot of that. Right? And it took a long time for me to smack myself, into an open mind and say, okay, time to change things up. So here's the question, right? We talked about 3 different things. So what's the thing they neglected to teach us in photography school, or that people don't talk about? Well, what's the one word that connects the 3 things I just talked about, right? Not having that open mind, you're just fixed on taking pictures of one thing and you don't take pictures of anything else, or using the same gear, or taking the same routes, or going to the same places, right? It's adaptability. Adaptability. You may want to call it flexibility, open-mindedness, if I can get that out. But whatever it is, it's just our ability to remain or become more adaptable. Now, we can sit here and talk about this all day long, and it's going to turn into a Photo Philosophy Friday topic. I don't want to do that. This time, what we're going to do is we're going to go for a shoot, and we're going to see what the day brings. Let's head out to Gibbs Gardens together, and let's start practicing adaptability. My goal is to get out there with the thought in mind that I'd like to shoot some landscapes of, the pretty place, right? Some scenery, like the lakes that they have, the little lakes and trees, and just a lot of different scenery, right? I don't know exactly, it's 45 minutes from here. The weather, sometimes it's totally different from here. Like it'll be sunny here and it'll be overcast there, or vice versa, or it'll be drizzling, So we're just gonna go and we're gonna see what happens. So we're here at Gibbs Gardens today in Ball Ground, Georgia. This is a beautiful place. And we're here mostly to do some landscape shots. I have a wide angle lens, and I want to introduce you to my friend Matheus, which is giving me a hand with the video today. And so check this out. This is my friend Matheus.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, I almost dropped the camera. Wave to everybody, Matheus.
Hello, everyone.
So this is the right hand today, and we're just going to do as much photography as we can here. Hopefully we can post some nice pictures for you guys, so stay tuned. So you know what, even though we're here to shoot landscapes, right, this is a 24mm 1.4, I'm not really digging the light today. It's not the light I expected. I was hoping it would be a little lower, the sun. It's only going to be 4 o'clock here in Georgia, but they close at 5, so we don't have a lot of time. If I could stay here till 8 p.m. it would be wonderful. This lens, I could shoot a bunch of wide angle scenery, but this is what I mean about being flexible. We came here to shoot some wide angles, and I think we're going to have to change the lenses. We're going to have to do either some macro photography, or we're going to have to figure out if we're going to shoot water lilies on these ponds, but we're going to have to change. So let's see what we can get. So here's a perfect example, right? I ran out of ideas for the landscape shots here. I'm not really crazy about the light, but so I put this on. This is a 60 to 600, and over there you can see this water lily, right? Let's take a shot at that and see what this looks like. So here's another perfect example where this lens, walking around Gibbs Gardens here in Georgia, is just coming in real handy. And I just completely disregarded the fact that we're here for landscapes. These water lilies are beautiful. So here's another beautiful water lily. So let's see what we can do with this one. So we're still here at Gibbs, and as you can see, the day is turning kind of strange for us. So it's really good. This is a perfect day to do this, you know, keep your mind flexible kind of a theme, because we're definitely going to have to use a different lens here, and we're going to, you know, I don't even know what to do at this point because I'm caught off guard, but we don't have anything in the water right now to photograph. We're going to go back to shooting landscapes, and let's see what we can do and which lens we're going to use. So what we have on right now is a 24mm 1.4. It's a Sigma art lens. It's a beautiful lens. And we're just walking around, and we're going to continue doing some wider shots, and we'll see what we can get. I'm also going to get in closer on some of the flowers with this lens and see if we can do like environmental portraits of flowers. Let's see what let's move on. I want to get you in the picture too. So here's another point of just remaining nice and flexible. I put on a 100mm macro, the 2.8, and there are bees flying around these flowers, and I'm going to see if I can get a couple of them feeding off the flowers. So we're going to spend a little time in this garden, and I'll show you what we get. I can't follow them around. Where are they? Oh, there you go. Right there, right there. How do they eat? So, you know, I like to read too, but when you come out to a park like this guy, you should really try to put your camera down and get a camera. Did I say put your book down? Or put your camera down? Put your book down and get your camera and take some nice pictures, because, you know, this sunlight is beautiful and you're wasting a lot of time. So here's another perfect example where I put the 24 back on, because we're out of the little pond area, so the water lilies are all gone, and we're actually going to be able to shoot some landscapes. So see the girl over here with the butterflies and the flowers and the trees. Let's see if we can get some pretty pictures. So let me take a minute to tell you about Gibbs Gardens. So they're not sponsoring this video or the channel, but this is a beautiful place. You can come here for a one-time fee. I think it's 20 bucks. Minors are $10. or you can do the whole yearly thing for $50, which is what I do. And I love coming here. You can walk around. There's a little restaurant where you can get sandwiches and drinks. In the evenings, like in the fall, they'll extend the hours and they do live jazz, Japanese ceremonial, like tea ceremonies. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. Live music, classical music many times. And you're just walking around taking pictures. You hear the music, you got your drink. So they do wine as well. And then, you know, I'm going to post some pictures. Stay till the end of the video. You can see some of the pictures that I've taken here at Gibbs Gardens. They're just absolutely gorgeous. So anyway, if you're ever in town in Georgia, please let me know below in the comments, and you know, like and subscribe down on your left and right. Share this with anybody you think might be interested. And you know, if you're coming to town, let me know and I'll meet you up at Gibbs. Okay, I want to teach you guys a trick here. So we're really improvising today because the weather completely has changed. And I put the 60 to 600 back on here. We're doing the water lilies because they're back today. But I want to teach you a little trick. Whenever you see pictures like this, you can take a picture like this. There's nothing wrong. I mean, look how beautiful this is. Watch, I want to show you guys. But here's a little trick. You grab a little stone, right? I came over from the road. And watch, I'm going to fling it, I'm going to create some waves, and then we're going to take the picture again. So that was our trip to Gibbs Gardens. I hope you guys had a great time out there with me. It's a beautiful place, isn't it? I mean, you see some beautiful stuff. I didn't really show you enough of walking around, and I apologize for that. I'm going to do other videos where I test lenses. So subscribe to this channel down here on your right, and like this video down here on your left if you've enjoyed this and you've gotten some benefit out of this, some practical knowledge. But more than anything, subscribe to the channel, because when I release a couple of reviews I'm doing, I'm going to go back to Gibbs, and this time what I'll do is I'll give you a little tour of the place. If you're not really sure, if you want to take the trip yet, if maybe you have to hike a little to get there, what I'm going to do is I'll just do a small video of the place walking around so you can see the different lakes and gardens, okay? I didn't do that this time because I was focused. Again, I was not adaptable because I was focused on doing this particular video. I didn't keep an open mind to show you other things, right? So the point here is, we got there. I had this thing in mind that I wanted to shoot landscapes. The weather sucked. First of all, the light was bad, and then oh man, it was the bad time of day, I guess. I had gone there before that time of day. Maybe it was a different season, so the sun was in a different location. But the light was not good for landscapes. So instead I put a telephoto on, the 60 to 600, and we did some, you know, water lilies, right? Lotus flowers. And then I put a macro on, and we did some beautiful macro photography, some close-ups of flowers and bugs. So that's what you have to do. And you can't do that unless you have a macro in your bag, unless you have an extreme telephoto, unless you have a nice wide angle to do some landscapes, and you can, you know, switch it up. So I'm not saying always do this, right? I'll even preach to you that sometimes the best thing you can do is stick one lens in your bag, because it opens up your mind. It forces you to walk across the street if you want something close. It forces you to get far away if you want something wide. It forces you to be creative if you need something macro, right? So every once in a while, one lens, again, here I am with the two hands. One lens is a great idea. But if you're taking a trip, 40, 45 minutes, and you want to get the most out of that, and you don't mind carrying a little weight, then 2 or 3 lenses is not a bad idea either, right? Now, when you're hiking up the mountains and you may say, I'm just taking 1 camera and 1 lens, and that's all I'm doing, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It might be a really versatile zoom, like a 24 to 105, right? And some of those are macro, so then you get 3 birds with 1 stone. So anyway, that's what we have. So remember, just keep your mind open, remain adaptable, right? About your gear, about the location you shoot, and I wrote this down because I got confused here, what and how we shoot, right? Lower angles, higher angles. When I say I got confused, I was thinking of too many things, and I wanted to make this brief. So, think about that too, right? Are you going to shoot from a lower angle? Are you going to shoot down at something? Are you going to shoot skewed sideways? Are you going to shoot through bushes, right? Always keep an open mind so that you're not doing what everybody else is doing, right? You see that mountain, everybody clicks the same picture. You can go hide behind a bush and shoot it through the bush, or over some flowers, right? Or underneath a little bridge, or, just remain open-minded. Look around when you're going to shoot. Don't just look at the subject that you're shooting. Look around to see what's the best location for me to stand or sit or kneel or lay down to take this picture. So even if the day is perfect and you got the day you wanted, if we had gotten the day we wanted going to Gibbs, that's even more important of a time to remain adaptable, because if we had the perfect day, if it had been, the sky had been perfect blue with puffy white clouds and the sun had been a little lower, I would have put that lens on and we would have shot the landscapes I went there to shoot, and maybe I wouldn't have been as creative, right? So when the weather is exactly what we expected, that's an even more important time to be adaptable and flexible, right? And creative. That's when you have to say, okay, I'm going to get the pictures I want today, but what else can I do, right? Let me put one of these other lenses on. Let me put this macro on. Let me look around for some stuff on the ground, hanging from the trees, right? Let me put this extreme telephoto on that I happen to own, right? Or just a regular telephoto. And let me see what I can get that I can't normally get from where I am, because I can't go across the pond, or I can't, reach that bridge or that mountaintop. Let me see what I can dig out with this lens, right? So that is it for today. Please like and subscribe, like I mentioned. Comment and share this video. And I will see you guys very soon in the next video. I hope this was useful for you guys. I love you all. Please stay healthy. You know what? We forgot our water break. Sorry for making all that noise. It's the water. I didn't make that noise. It's the bottle. So practice adaptability and flexibility going forward. And let me know in the comments if you do it already, or if it's something you've neglected. Maybe you've been doing a lot of the same work and you're going to start doing it now. And I'll see you soon. Ciao for now. Lipstick going. Gotta get some lipstick going. Is that too bright? Might be too bright. That's a little better. A little softer. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
I still want pass.
So
I don't know how the focus is.
Make sure here you get my whole body, that's all.
Okay.
Look for my head.
Yep.
So I'm assuming here it's gonna cut me, right?
No.
Oh, you still get me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think it's good, yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Awesome. This is awesome.
Awesome, awesome.